The back, the most uncomplicated muscle group to train. But still, too many are confused and do 10 different unnecessary variations and then wonder why they're not seeing any progress. So in this video I'll show you my essentials and how you can build a strong and functional back. But before even thinking about the exercise, we need to cover 3 principles we will always follow. The first one is that you track freaking everything. The exercise you're doing, how much weight you did on an exercise, how many sets you did, and how many reps you did in one set. This is going to give us a really good overview of how your progress is going. It's going to motivate yourself, seeing the weight go up, and go up. And it will help us a lot later when we're trying to use progressive overload. Then, number 2, train with high intensity. So when you maybe hear these essentials, you hear the exercise I'm going to talk about, the first thing you do is you cover the form. You learn the form and you don't train that hard. You just learn the form and get comfortable with the technique. After that, when you're having real working sets, I want you to train with high intensity. What does that mean? High intensity is for me being 1 to 2 reps away from absolute failure. And then number 3, use progressive overload. And this basically means that you, over time, overload the weight, overload the sets, overload the muscles so they keep growing. So you don't just stay on the same level all the time. If you want a really in-depth tutorial of progressive overload and the method I use, check out the first link in the description. I just recently made a video about it. So, have these in mind and let's jump into the exercises. So, when we are choosing back exercises, we basically only need to think about 2 things. The back has 2 functions, pulling vertically and pulling horizontally. So as long as we cover 2 exercises, one that is doing the vertical pulling and one is doing the horizontal pulling, we've basically covered the whole back. And then I also like to put in one isolation because very often these 2 exercises won't cover one smaller muscle group. For horizontal pulling, this could be some barbell rows, dumbbell rows. For vertical pulling, it could be lat pull downs, chin ups, another type of vertical pulling machines. And for isolations, it could be some lat pullovers or something else. And my essentials, my 3 of these exercises are for vertical pulling, pull-ups, for horizontal pulling, the cable row, and for the isolation, trap raises. I believe the pull-up is the absolute best back exercise out there. The reason I believe it is because it gives me real strength. It builds real functional strength. Strength according to my own body weight. Then you can overload it quite easily. You can have different variations to make it harder. You can make it easier with bands, or you can just add weight. And then it doesn't just build raw strength, but it makes my back bigger, wider, and aesthetic. That's why I believe it's a top tier back builder. The only thing negative about pull-ups is that it's hard to get into. If you can't do any pull-ups, it can be a little hard to get the couple pull-ups rolling. But when you can do 1 to 2 pull-ups, 2 to 3 pull-ups, you can really easily build it up and then get like 10, 15 pull-ups in a matter of months. Then the second exercise for horizontal pulling will be the cable row. And I think this exercise matches so good with the pull-up because it's so opposite of it. It's a fixed path, it's a machine, it's still easy to overload. And what I really like about it is that it puts a lot of tension and stress away from the lower back. If you think about barbell rows, you always need to bend down and you always have a lot of tension. And when you're doing the cable row, a lot of this tension is gone. You can really focus on the weight, on the movement, on the form, doing slow and controlled reps instead of worrying about if your back is going to break. And I feel like if you really want to train to failure with barbell rows, your abs and your lower back are going to give out before your lats really. And then trap raises. You know, the pull-up and the cable row, they will cover basically the entire back, but traps. Because not a lot of exercises really use the traps. That's what we're going to hit them with in isolation. And traps are really important, you know, both also for the pull-up, right, the starting position, also for stabilizing other movements, and they're really important for aesthetics. You know, you want to have nice masculine traps. And with all these exercises, what I would recommend is that you first focus on finding the perfect form, getting comfortable with the form, Then finding your perfect weight so you can train with the right weight. And you don't need to do more than 2 sets on every single one of these exercises. Like I said, check out my progressive overload tutorial. I'll explain and go a lot more in depth there. And then when you have found the right weight, you can really train with high intensity and really use the progressive overload to see significant progress every single week, or every second week at least. And I've just given you a blueprint of how you can make your own back days as well. So if you don't like pull-ups, you can't do them, or you don't really care about pull-ups, you don't like them, or you don't like cable row, or you don't like trap raise, it doesn't matter. As long as you have one vertical pull, one horizontal pull, and maybe an isolation, you'll be fine. So just find the exercise you like, you really feel it, that you really enjoy and you see progress with, and you just keep going with those. And apply all the other principles, progressive overload, tracking, training with high intensity, and then you will see progress in the back area as well. So, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comment section and see you around.